on to Rwanda. Is anybody surprised that the president, Paul Kagame, won the new election? I'm not surprised. He's been 23 years that he's been president, and I am not surprised at all that he won this last election as well. In fact, when the election was coming up, all the foreign media that were reporting, they were like, forget about it, this is not an election. The man would win because he already clamped down on the opponents. Now, many Africans admire how Kagame has transformed Rwanda since the genocide. It is now the cleanest country in Africa. Electricity is stable, the roads are good, water is running in the cities, and not just that, they are producing their own laptops. I mean, a lot of African countries are now looking up to Rwanda as the only African country that is actually getting it right.
So much love to share. Pure blackness, oneness so rare. So much love to care. Let them know they're missing out. Mama Africa has so much love to share.
At the same time though, so many Africans are upset about how Kagame is allegedly transforming Rwanda at the expense of the Democratic Republic of Congo. As you guys know, there's a UN report where they say that Kagame and other countries are responsible for the unrest in Congo. That most of the natural resources that Kagame is using to transform Rwanda is allegedly coming from Congo illegally, because it's like they are stealing the resources from Congo. You all know that Congo is the richest African country in terms of natural resources, including gold, diamonds, tin, coltan, water reservoir, and so on and so forth.
Congo is the heart of Africa. So much natural resources, the animals, the flowers, everything. Because the money is there, the resources are there in Congo, and everybody wants a piece of Congo.
Now till today, even though Kagame denies it, there are several reports alleging to the fact that during the genocide in Rwanda, thousands of Hutus fled to Congo, and Kagame got the US's support during the Clinton's administration to go after those Hutus in Congo.
Paul Kagame, who led the Tutsi rebellion and was now in charge of Rwanda, saw these militant refugees as a threat to Rwandan national security. In the absence of justice, a terrifying cycle of revenge was about to take hold in Congo, as Paul Kagame's army prepared to massacre what many experts estimate to be hundreds of thousands of refugees.
Now, that's another man's country, but they invaded Congo anyway. They went into Congo in the name of trying to kill the Hutus that were there as refugees. And of course, they killed them at refugee camps.
These Hutu were not combatants. They were not people under arms. They were elderly, they were women, they were children, they were sick people. And the UN knew about it almost in real time.
The UN knew, the US government knew, I believe other governments knew as well.
Now, the word on the street is that the US supported Kagame because they felt bad that they didn't do anything when the genocide in Rwanda was happening.
They did not make an effort to openly investigate those who were not good enough. They allowed investigations to be blocked.
With the leaders of the United States and the United Nations looking the other way, Kagame proceeded with a full-scale invasion of Congo with his Ugandan ally, Yoweri Museveni.
But the story did not end there. There are several reports that they didn't just go after the people, after the Hutus, that they actually went after the natural resources in eastern Congo. And it's not just Rwanda. Uganda also invaded Congo. In fact, about 9 countries now have forces in Congo.
Rival warlords surrounding African countries like Rwanda and Uganda in the east have just gone in there and helped themselves to this enormous natural wealth.
But there are several reports that Rwanda is the one playing the key role in the unrest that is happening in Congo.
What role did the U.S. play in this? It was a pretty direct supporting role. I happened to go to Rwanda just before this invasion took place. Major shipments of weapons were coming in at night to support the Rwandan army. We had placed people in the country who were training Rwandan army troops. In short, we were supporting the invasion.
Of course, leaders of both countries, they deny it.
When I met President Paul Kagame earlier this year, he robustly denied any involvement.
We should not be accused of a mess in the DRC, period. If the DRC is messed up on the hands of its own leaders.
Meanwhile, since the invasion of Congo, more than 6 million people in eastern Congo have been killed because outsiders want the natural resources of Congo. I'm not saying 1, I'm not saying 2, I'm saying more than 6 million human beings like you and I. Now, this report was 2010. That's 7 years ago. So a lot of people estimate that by now, at least 9 million people have been killed because the war is still going on in Congo.
There's a global consensus that exists that says it's okay for nearly 6 million black people to die in the heart of Africa and for us to be silent.
It has nothing to do with ethnicity. They killed Congolese like they were flies. You feel a mosquito and you just hit. That's exactly how they kill. It's as long as we can just wipe them out and get access. I mean, the mines exist. People used to live in those areas.
Now, the war in Congo is not the people of Congo killing each other. It is outsiders coming in to invade their land and killing them so that they could get the natural resources.
Those who committed genocide in Rwanda crossed over in the Congo, and the Congo has become the victim of what happened in Rwanda.
Especially in eastern Congo, where a bulk of the natural resources is located.
These resources that are found in the Congo are vital to major industries in the West, whether we're talking about the automotive industry, aerospace industry, technology industry, the electronics industry, even the jewelry industry.
These minerals exist in great profusion throughout the Democratic Republic of Congo, especially in its eastern part.
Wanasema ni Rwanda rafori iko natoka Rwanda, inatokea Rwanda inakuja mpaka huku. Mambo ya kusema iko napigana.
Now, for the people who refuse to leave their land in Congo, many of them are either killed or they make them watch as they rape their wives and daughters right in their presence.
Rape happened to be one of the weapon that worked the most, because as soon as you destabilize a community, you rape the entire village, the women of the entire village, in front of the children, in front of the husband, that community is broken completely, because the men cannot look at the wives in the eye and say, we were unable to protect you, and the women cannot survive that trauma.
You guys know that rape has been used greatly as a weapon in eastern Congo. In fact, there has been several reports about how Congo is known as the rape capital of the world. At the same time, they make sure that they destroyed the hospitals so that those that were wounded would die. They don't want them to recover. In fact, someday I need to talk about this Congolese doctor doing amazing things, risking his life to save the women and girls that are raped in eastern Congo. So many of them, he will sew them together and then they will rape them again. He will have to sew them again. In fact, they are taking refuge at his hospital. Meanwhile, during the same period that Congo was invaded, between then and now, Rwanda has greatly transformed. In fact, Rwanda is now the largest exporter of coltan in the whole world, which is ironic because Congo is the one known as the producer of coltan. There are several reports that prove that before the conflict in Congo began, Rwanda was only exporting about 50 tons of coltan. Now, Rwanda is making about $250 million every year from exporting coltan, and they are projecting that by next year, they will be making $400 million. Today, Rwanda is the largest exporter of something that their neighbor is producing.
Congo has 64% of the Earth's coltan, a precious mineral that is needed for our modern electronics, with the largest reserves of cobalt on the planet. Cobalt is a strategic and critical mineral that is essential for our aerospace, military, and defense industries.
Although their president insists that they have coltan in Rwanda, they have mines in Rwanda. Another thing to keep in mind is that the president of Congo is a very good friend of the president of Rwanda. So yes, he looks the other way. So of course, Congolese citizens wanted to get rid of him last year during the elections, but the man cancelled the election. So he's technically in his third term by force. So a lot of people believe that so long as Joseph Kabila is there as president, Kagame will have unrestricted access to the natural resources in Congo. I have nothing against Rwanda, by the way, and I'm very excited about the developments in Rwanda. I have absolutely nothing against the people of Rwanda. I just don't think that it's okay to put someone else down for you to thrive, or to destroy one country for your own country to thrive. I don't think that there's the need to sponsor instability in another country or kill millions of people before you can develop.
You do not have to slaughter millions of people to get access to the cobalt or access to the copper for your automobile industry.
You want the coltan. Man, Congolese people don't eat coltan. Congolese people can't eat gold. Talk to the Congolese people. We're going to let you get the resources, but for God's sake, stop killing the people. Stop letting Rwanda, Uganda, and Joseph Kabila kill with impunity.
This is all allegedly, and this is all based on reading several reports, including the UN report as well, where they say that they have all kinds of evidence. Till today, there's a huge enmity between Rwandese and Congolese people. I've been in a room with people from Rwanda and people from Congo, and I'm telling you, it was not pretty. A lot of Rwandese people say, why can't Congolese people get their acts together? And you know, that hurts, because a lot of people from Congo, they look at them with puzzles, wondering if the people of Rwanda are aware of what their president is allegedly doing in their country. So it's been 23 years since Kagame has been president, and despite the physical transformation that we see in Rwanda, there are several complaints of him clamping down on journalists, especially if anyone tries to report on his ties with the ongoing war in Congo or his role in the genocide. And not only that, it's a crime to protest. So I mean, it's not like you can't protest, but you are responsible for whatever happens to you after the protest, which is why you would never hear people protesting in Rwanda. And there are several political prisoners that have been there for years, and opposition members are usually arrested at the airport if they come back to the country, like the woman that I told you about some months ago.
Will you step down in 2017?
Again, don't worry about that. We have a constitution in place.
Is that a yes?
No, it is a broad answer to say you don't need to worry about anything.
Not long ago, Kagame's administration amended the constitution so that he can rule until 2034. This is 2017, right? So this man may technically be the president until 2034. And of course, for this year's election, they made sure that his banner was everywhere. But for other candidates, they were not allowed to have their banner wherever the president's banner was posted. So wherever Kagame's banner was posted, they were not allowed to have theirs anywhere close to Kagame's banner. In fact, they were only given 3 weeks to campaign. 3 weeks. Not only that, the only female candidate, as soon as she declared her intent to run, her nude pictures surfaced suddenly. And people were like, how did this happen?
A lot of things were done. Tried to undermine my campaign. During the collection of the signatures, the people working with me were harassed. Some were put in jail. They were told that signing for me was treasonous.
In fact, no one is surprised that so many people did not even know of other candidates. There was one candidate that had a rally recently and only about 100 people showed up. So of course, no one is surprised that Kagame won this election again. So I want to know what you guys think. Is the transformation in Rwanda justifiable, even though it's allegedly at the expense of the lives of millions of human beings in another country? And before you answer that question, I want you to imagine that your country is the one that is being invaded for another country to develop. Also, would you rather have a president like Kagame that is described as a dictator, but he's developing his country? Or would you rather have the leader that you have? And my last question is, the US is aware of the human rights violations, but they fund the Rwandese government by giving them $200 million every year. And in return, the US companies have unrestricted access to coltan, which they use to make laptops, cell phones, airplanes, and so on and so forth.
We have so many evidence on Rwanda and Uganda, and we even have a leaked UN report. But since 2000, the United States have given Rwanda $1 billion. Why is the United States supporting a genocidal government?
The US actually describes Kagame as a friendly tyrant.
Why is Rwanda and why are Uganda important to the U.S. military? Precisely because we can have them do things in Africa that we don't wish to do for ourselves. We can have their soldiers die if need be. We can have them deploy places if need be. And so having proxies, having allies, having clients who are willing to do your bidding becomes very important.
So I want to know what you guys think about this, about the US and what's happening in Eastern Congo. Again, you guys know I don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real.